Happy New Year. This is Real Estate Roundup, and I'm Emmanuel Romanis. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season. It was tremendous at my home, a very special time. My youngest boy got engaged, so it was just a little more special than usual over the holidays at our house, and I hope everything went very well for you. As always, if you want to reach out to the show, you can simply send us an email at realestateroundup@outlook.com, and we'll be happy to answer you in a timely fashion. Joining me today, a little bit later on, is going to be Donna Rossa of Space Solutions. She is a consultant who deals with feng shui and home and office organization. So that should be very interesting. I've heard of feng shui before, but honestly, I really don't know much about it or how it works. So it's going to be a learning experience for me and possibly for some of you as well. Being that it's the new year, New Year's resolutions are the thing to do. So what I did is I grabbed 5 New Year's resolutions for buyers and 5 for sellers. So the ones for buyers, let's start there. These were compiled by bankrate.com. And number 1 is make an extra mortgage payment, shortening the time to pay off the loan, thus saving you interest payment. Number 2 is refinance your mortgage, decrease your payment or lock in a lower rate. May be the wise thing for you to do. Number 3, they recommend to fight your property tax assessment. Unfortunately, a lot of those assessments are incorrect, and depending on the area, sometimes you wonder how on earth did they come up with this assessment. So it could definitely pay for you to fight your property assessment. Number 4, they recommend to take advantage of homeowners insurance discounts. Update your plumbing, smoke alarms, update your electrical systems. This could all be a part of a lower homeowner's premium. So look into things like that. There's definitely money out there to be saved. Talk with your insurance agent. And finally, make your mortgage payments on time. That FICO score is everywhere, and it plays a very, very big part in your credit. So, late payments, they do a lot to hurt your FICO score. So make your mortgage payments on time. Now, for the seller side, we have 5 New Year's resolutions, and these were compiled by the Washington Post. Number 1, and we've talked about this before, and this also dovetails in to what my guest, Donna Rossa, will be talking about a little bit later on in the show. Get your home in selling condition before you put it on the market. Very, very important. People want to walk in and they want to see your home in pristine condition, ready to walk in, ready to go. Number 2, price it right for the market you're in. Comparative market analysis is a very good tool to help you do this. A real estate professional can assist you with getting you a comparative market analysis. If you can't buy and sell at the same time, be willing to rent. Sometimes you can't sell your home in time to buy the new home, but it's such a great deal you don't want to lose out. It may pay for you to put your stuff in storage and rent for a while. Be open to do that. It may not necessarily be a good thing. It may be a good thing, but just be open to that possibility. Number 4, don't get greedy. And I see this all the time. Everyone should walk away happy. The definition of a fair price is the seller was willing to accept less and the buyer was willing to pay more. So you don't want to get greedy. And number 5, and I've talked about this before as well, real estate agents differ. It pays to shop around. Even within the same brokerage firm, real estate agents differ. So again, it pays to shop around. Okay, that takes us now to our segment, Who Knew? And today we're going to talk about home is where the heart is. Roman soldier, author, and naturalist Gaius Plinius Secundus, who is better known as Pliny the Elder, said home is where the heart is. However, for the caged dogs of Hong Kong, I'm not so sure that's the case. Stick around.
BPTV. Come volunteer. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't be here.
BPTV. Come on in, make a show. It's still fun after all these years.
Welcome back. Before the break, we talked about home is where the heart is from Pliny the Elder. Well, I'm sure many of you remember the 1968 movie Planet of the Apes, which showed us a world where roles were reversed. Apes were the dominant civilization, and mankind, humankind, pretty much was the subservient race and lived in cages. Well, unfortunately, in present-day Hong Kong, the poorest human beings, referred to as caged dogs, live in 3-by-6 foot metal cages which are stacked upon each other like produce crates. It is estimated that caged dogs, this community in Hong Kong, one of the richest cities in the world, exceeds numbers of upwards of 50,000. Who knew? Okay, joining me now is Donna Rossa of Space Solutions. She is a consultant with Feng Shui and also home organization decluttering. Donna, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Let's start at the beginning. Space Solutions. What is that? What do you do?
Well, I believe if you change your space, you can change your life.
Okay.
You know, part of it is Feng Shui. Feng Shui believes that your environment tells people a lot about you.
Okay.
And if you're a scattered person, if I go into your house and your house is kind of all disorganized and scattered, your life is probably scattered because you can't find things, you're always running late, etc.
Okay.
So that's why I say if you change your space, you can change your life. You'll be a little more organized and calm.
Okay. Let's break them down. Feng Shui, I'm ignorant. So
are a lot of people.
What I've heard of it before, but I really don't understand what it is, how it works, what the relevance is. So take me through because I'm a beginner. I don't know anything about it. So what is it? How does it work?
Okay.
What's the advantages?
Real quick, Feng Shui means wind and water, and it comes from a Chinese proverb. And it tells you about the best environment for a person to live in.
Okay.
And I could go on back in history, but I'm not going to go that far back.
It's only a half-hour show,
I know
Donna.
it is. Anyway, it talks about the elements, the different elements, earth, fire, all that, and you want them balanced.
Okay.
Okay. It talks about yin and yang and how you need that balanced. It just talks about balancing your life, and that means in your environment.
Okay, so let's specifically talk about the home as the environment. You walk into my home, first time you've been there, and I'm looking for this balance. What are some of the things you look for? What are some of the recommendations you would typically make?
Okay, some of the things I might look for is, does your space reflect what you want it to reflect. In other words, you look at it and you say a bedroom, normally you want relaxing, right?
Sure.
Well, although I have a person that was not, she couldn't get up in the morning, so she didn't want it. But anyway, you'd want colors
Okay.
that are relaxing. You want shapes that are relaxing. You just want to make it more of a relaxing place. You wouldn't want to have too much metal in it, because
Okay.
metal is, you'd want more wood, more earth tones, things like that.
Warmer
Right.
environment.
Right.
Is that what you're going for?
That's what I'm going for.
Okay.
A more relaxing environment.
Okay.
Just things like that.
Now, would you typically want to follow this throughout the home, or do you find where one room you may want themed differently
Right, exactly.
than another room?
Exactly. You have a game room, you don't want it relaxing.
Okay.
You want it a little more vibrant. You want to put more reds in it, more angles, more things like that.
Okay.
So it depends on the room, what you want to use the room for.
Okay. Now, as far as, say, common areas, I have different themed rooms, and that makes sense. I use them for different things. They should reflect different vibes,
Right.
for lack of a better
Different
word.
energy.
Different energy. That's a better word than vibe. Now, what about common areas that would tie the rooms together? Do you try to mesh the different themes together, or do the common areas kind of have their own energy? How does
When
that
you mean
work?
common, you mean like
Well,
living room?
Well, no, like hallways,
Hallways, oh.
entrances, things of that nature.
Hallways are a whole new thing. You don't want them too long. You want to kind of break them up with plans if you in a big house. Now, most of us don't have that.
Right, right.
Doorways, you don't want a front door directly with the back door.
Okay.
The energy goes right through. So you put a crystal. So there's different things you can do.
Okay. Okay. What about light? I know light plays a big part in energy. In fact, one of the things, and we'll get into a little bit more detail about this in a minute, but when we speak to someone who wants to sell their home for the first time, one of the things that we recommend almost all the time is we want to make the rooms look bigger. We want to bring in more light, so we use mirrors.
Right. That's a feng shui tool.
It is.
Yes, it
Okay. Okay. So that would play into that as well, as far as the light, the energy, things of that nature.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Energy is, light brings energy.
Right.
For example, if you want more energy in your house, put a pretty wreath there. Again, because it draws people's eyes, it draws energy to the front door, and,
Okay.
and it welcomes people in.
Now, what about the surroundings of the home, the outside, the yard, I guess it could even go as far as the neighborhood, though I don't know how much a homeowner would be able to impact the neighborhood. How does that enter into it, if it does at all?
It does. Well, it's the same curb appeal. You know
Okay,
that.
okay.
If you have a house that has just a plain, straight, flat yard, kind of boring. Put a
Okay.
tree here and there. So again, you get the yin and the yang, the height and the low,
Okay.
the height and the low. It's more interesting.
So a lot of what I recommend as a realtor is feng shui. I just didn't know it was called that.
Exactly. I know when I started studying it, I went, oh my gosh, I do this.
I didn't know how to label it, but I'm doing it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as far as specifically, and I'd like to focus it more on, like I said, when we speak to people who want to sell their homes, put their homes up for sale, very first thing we do, declutter, declutter. And I know you do a lot of work with this as well, organizing the home, organizing the space, even as far as commercial or workspaces. I know you do a lot of work with that as well. What are some of the more common things that you see and that you recommend to just get rid of the junk?
What can I say? That's it. Get rid of the junk. Yeah. It's like anything else. You don't want to go into a place where the air it's stifling.
Okay.
You just don't feel comfortable in that type of place. And that's what clutter does. Clutter is stuck energy, stuck air. It's just stuck there. And you want to just open that up. So you need to get rid of the clutter. And
Now, as far as I'm sure you come across people who are like, no, I have to have that. I need that. You look at a desk and there's so much on there, you can't find the pencil. You can't see the desk.
That's more like it.
How do you combat that with people where, you know, get rid of this, get rid of this? No, I have to have that. I have to have this. I have to have this.
As an organizer, you really have to go with what the person wants. Now, if they're selling a house, it might be something different where you can say, you can have it, but right now let's put it in this box and put it somewhere else.
Okay, kind of hide it.
Exactly, you know.
Okay.
But if they're not selling the house, then I kind of got to go with, I make suggestions, and that's all I can do.
Sure, sure.
You know, I can't force anybody to do it, and I certainly don't want to force anybody to do it.
Right, right. Do you find that there's a difference between working with a residential or a residence and an office or an industrial complex? Talk about some of those differences that you come up against.
Okay, residential, again, you want to make it more homey, more comfortable, more relaxing. When you're working with a company, you certainly don't want people too relaxed.
Right.
You know, you
Sure.
want to bring in some other energies. Let me think, what other ways? Like I said, mostly it's the whole energy of the place. You just want to, like I said, make things more relaxing, residential, and more active.
Now, do you ever recommend, or is this even the right way to look at it when you're working with people at their workspace? Bring some home energy with you to that space. Do you ever get any type of crossover, or not really?
Again, that's individualized. Some people may want to, which is fine. Another person may have 47 pictures of their family. And I would say, don't you think that's a little much for the workplace?
Okay.
You're supposed to be concentrating on your work, not the family.
Right, right.
So, I mean, again, it depends on what they have and what they want.
Okay, okay. Now, when you work with companies, do you work primarily with individuals within the company, or the company as a whole? Meaning, I have this office building, and you know we have offices here. We have a warehouse here, for example. Come and do your magic to make this thing flow.
It depends on what the client wants.
Okay.
Some clients will just say, I want my office done. I've had clients that say, I have a few people that are really disorganized. They're going to other people's spaces. Could you work with that person?
Okay.
Other places I've worked, it's been more feng shui. It's been like, can you tell us what we can do in the whole environment, in the building, to make it more in balance?
Okay. Now, the feng shui aspect of it, how did you get involved in that? Because I find that very fascinating. It's corny, but it's almost Zen-like. I'm curious, how did you get involved with that?
I went out to Reno to visit my aunt, and my cousin was out there, and she was already involved in it. She was an interior decorator.
Okay.
She had gotten involved in it, and she started telling me about it. And she gave me a couple books, which I started reading, and I went, what? And I thought, well, I'm no dummy. I got to find out for myself what this is all about.
Right.
So, and she also gave me a low pen, which is a compass. And they do it. I don't do that type of feng shui.
Okay.
I do intuitive feng shui. It's westernized.
Okay.
It made sense to me. There were
Okay.
different teachers. That's the one that made sense to me, and it's mainly because that type of feng shui deals more with an individual instead of a rule.
Okay.
You know
Got
what I'm
it.
saying? Instead
Yep.
of saying, green is a relaxing color, I want you to paint your bedroom green. Well, maybe you were in a hospital with a green room for 8 months,
Okay.
and so for you, green isn't relaxing.
Got it.
And I think that's my special ed background with the IEP, individualized things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is there a group or an association for feng shui members, or?
Yes, not in Pittsburgh per se. I
Okay.
do belong to the International Institute of Feng Shui.
Okay.
You know, it's an online thing.
Sure, sure.
And I'm trying to think. I think they disbanded the other group I was in. but that's the one I belong to. There are groups, but like I said, we don't have one in the Pittsburgh area.
Gotcha. Okay.
There are a few other people that do it here, but
Right. Now, Space Solutions. How long has that been in existence? When did you start that?
let me see. It's been about 14, 15 years since I
Okay,
retired.
so you've been at this for a while then. Okay, good deal, good deal. Is there anything that maybe we haven't touched on or you'd like to bring up that you could recommend that might be helpful? Or
The only thing I can recommend is please get your house organized. Your life will be much easier. You'll be able to find things and get things done easier. Like I said, the houses I go in, I notice that their lives are very chaotic.
okay,
They're just chaotic. It's like, let's get some peace in the house, peace in your life.
simplify.
Except for Christmas.
Oh, of course. What about pets? Do pets enter into this
Yes,
at all? Or?
pets are energy.
Okay. So how would pets enter into? You walk in again. Let's take my home as an example, and I do have a little dog. What would be some possible recommendations to incorporate the pet into the feng shui experience?
Well, you need to keep the place clean of pet stuff. I had one client that had cats and they didn't get along, so she had litter boxes on each floor in the hallway outside.
Okay.
Now, my recommendation, no, that's not good. So, certain things should be kind of hidden. I've had other clients with cats. Dogs are dogs.
They do what they
as
do.
long as they're not ruining the furniture
Yeah,
and messing
yeah.
with the floor, But like I said,
Now, do you incorporate? I know water is very soothing a lot of times.
Yes.
Also, music. Do you incorporate those aspects, and how would that play into things?
again, if people want them. I can remember getting a water fountain in my family room, and my son at that time was living at home. He was a little older, but living at home, and he said, "Mom, please get rid of that because all it makes me want to do is go to the bathroom." He didn't find it soothing. So I put it up in my office.
I can understand that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that I put in my office.
Okay.
Yeah. Water is good. A water, again, we deal with the boggle. We can divide a room or an area or a house or a yard or whatever into 9 energy centers.
Okay.
And each energy center is a part of your life. You have relationship, career, wealth, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay.
Anyway, in the wealth area, a water fountain would be a good thing because that brings in good energy,
Okay.
as long as you keep the water fountain clean. Same with the fish tank.
Right.
But you have to keep it clean. Plants are another thing to put in certain areas. But if they start dying, get rid of them.
Then
We don't want dead
It's
plants.
negative energy, obviously.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
Now, you spoke of energy centers. Expand on that a little bit. You said there were 9
of
energy
them.
centers. What are they? Expand on that a little bit.
well, like I said, you could take any rectangular area and divide it into 9 centers.
Okay.
You start with the door you go in, okay? And it could be in the right, the middle, or the left hand of the room.
All right.
But normally, let's see, this would be your helpful people and travel area.
Okay.
This is your career, and on this side is your self-knowledge.
Okay.
And then you go back, and that's family, health, creativity, and children.
Okay.
Go back one more, and you have relationship. It's hard to describe if you're not seeing it.
I can imagine.
Okay,
Sure.
relationship, career, and wealth.
Okay. Now, these are energy centers within the same space.
Yes, they could be. You could have your desk and divide it into energy centers like this.
Okay,
You
okay.
could divide a room into
Okay.
energy centers. You can divide the whole house. You can
Okay.
divide the whole land.
Okay. Now, are the placement of the centers typically the same, or can they be divided up, or?
They're always the same.
Oh, okay.
And you always go by the door you go in the most. Like some rooms may have 2 doors.
Right.
Which door do you use the most? Well, that would be, then you start dividing it that way.
Okay. So it makes a difference how it's laid out and the door that you enter the room in, and then it just you just place it from there.
Right.
But it's always the same setup. It's always the same layout, the same
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a diagram like.
Okay.
You know, for example, it's always going to be the right-hand side, back of the room on the right-hand side is always going to be your love and relationship.
Okay.
So you want to make sure maybe that you have things there that remind you of love and relationship. A desk, you could put a picture of your,
I was going to say,
Loved
so a picture of my wife I would want on the
Exactly.
back right-hand corner of
that
my
would
desk.
be, yeah, or your children.
Right.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Helpful people, you may want to put your phone over here in the helpful people area so you can get phone calls from people to help you.
Okay.
Things like that.
And the layout of these energy centers is supposed to culminate together to bring you the most positive energy. That's the idea behind it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
I
I
never
mean,
knew-
you can go. I don't want to go on and on.
Right. No, I understand, but that is very, very fascinating.
Yeah,
that's-
and I've had people say to me, I had one woman, I did this with a group of women. I belong to WBN, Women's Business Network.
Okay.
And you give presentations, and I talked about the Bagua, and it was funny because a few weeks later she came to me and she said, you know, my husband had walked out on me.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my relationship area, I put roses and fixed it all up, and you know, he came back. Of course,
Must
right
be
after.
something to it.
Well, I don't know.
Certainly didn't hurt.
That's what I tell people.
Right.
I tell people, some people with that superstition, I said, listen, as long as it doesn't hurt and it looks nice.
Right.
For example, bamboo flutes are supposed to keep out bad energy.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't tell you to put bamboo flutes above your door because it would look stupid in your house.
Right. Right.
But I did in a, I went there, martial arts school,
Okay.
because he was asking me about different things. I said, well, you could hang bang because it has that oriental feel
Right.
to the place.
It would fit.
So that's what I say, you know, certain things I say, if it looks stupid, I wouldn't do it.
Right. Right. Regardless of the energy,
Right.
it just doesn't fit.
Uh-huh.
That's fantastic. Well, I want to thank you very much. I find this very fascinating.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back.
Distracted driving has been called an epidemic. Unfortunately, many of us drive distracted. So what is distracted driving?
It is driving while engaged in any activity that could divert a person's attention away from the prime task of driving.
Texting, making phone calls, putting on makeup, reaching for objects, changing the CD or radio channel is part of an endless list that put us at risk. The following statistics should make each of us think about making changes in the way we drive or ride in a car. In 2012, over 3,000 people were killed and 421,000 were injured as a result of distracted driving.
In 2011, it was estimated that a typical daylight moment, at least 660,000 cars were being driven by drivers using handheld cell phones.
40% of teenagers have been in a car with a person using a cell phone while driving in a way that put others in danger. Driving while using a cell phone reduces the amount of brain activity devoted to driving by 37%.
Change the way you drive. Speak up for your safety.
Drive without texting or talking on your cell phone. Make calls or texts prior to driving. Pull over to a safe location to text or check emails. Stop texting or talking on cell phones to others that are driving. It all starts with you.
Welcome back. Again, I want to thank my guest, Donna Rossa of Space Solutions. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching.